Light the beam, because it's time for Nerd for 30, the podcast where we talk about nerdy-ish movies for 30-ish minutes. But today, we're not talking about movies. We're talking about Scruples, a game of moral dilemmas. My name is Kevin Bauer, a.k.a. The Critic's Choice. With me, as always, the people's champ, Tim Cack.
If you feel it, chase it, baby.
If you feel it, chase it. This, if you're just tuning in for the first time, is a board game that Tim found at a Goodwill that's from the year 1999, I believe. It is designed to be a game of moral dilemmas where you're presented with what's supposed to be a hard choice on a card, and then you and the people you're playing with have to decide how you would react to it. But it's from the late 90s, so all the shit's super dated.
Yeah, 1999. My mom said that they used to play this game sometimes.
No
I think
way,
there's been
really?
a couple different versions of it. Yeah, but she said that the only thing she remembers about it is that it's supposed to be these moral dilemmas, and then people like, I don't know what the actual game is. We just read the cards and talk about it. But I think it's something like you read the card and then you come up with a stance and people vote if you're lying or not. And I guess one of their friends got so mad because someone thought he was lying, and then they just didn't play anymore after that.
That's fucking great.
Not friendship ending, but tantrum starting.
Well, you never know what's going to happen on this episode.
This could be the end of us.
This could be, dude, we got to find Scruples from like 1950, like an old Milton Bradley, like mystery date, and it's Scruples. And the question's like, your wife wants to vote. Do you let her?
There are some good ones in here. I just found this banger, which is a good example of how dated this game is. Your teenage daughter is dating a young man of another race. Do you try to break them up?
Holy fuck. Are you Jesus Christ?
Yep. So that's the moral dilemma.
Oh my God.
And so I guess the real game would be someone's like, no. And everyone's like, you know what, you racist Kyle, piece of shit. You're lying, Kyle. You would. Oh, so-and-so, Kyle, I've seen your lawn. You don't want anyone on it.
Oh, my God.
You're a real racist piece of shit, Kyle. And then he's like, yeah, I was lying. Guess that is the game. But the idea of these being so polarizing that, like, this is a conversation.
Kyle, you walked out of the movie Philadelphia. Just trying to think of the most, like, racist indictments you can level against someone.
Yeah.
You thought Remember the Titans was a tragedy. All right, what do we got? What's our first?
You thought that Remember the Titans was you thought that school was better at football before they integrated.
Oh my God, dude!
That's one of the wildest things. He's like, you know what? It's not the fact that they're black. It's the fact that they're ruining the game.
That's exactly the way that these motherfuckers would do it. It's so funny how accusing someone of being against the movie Remember the Titans in any way, shape, or form is immediately shorthand for like, this person's a piece of shit.
All right. Racist much? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Honestly, I love Remember the Titans. One of my favorite movies.
Same here, man. We got to do it
Them
on
yelling
pod.
left side, strong side at each other is one of my favorite things ever. I'm going to cry if we talk about about it.
I'm ready to be heard again. Lauren watched it on the plane to Japan. I just watched it silent. My headphones were not in. I just watched it over her shoulder.
Is that one of the most American movies you can watch on your way to Japan?
Yeah, dude. That's got to be up there. That has to be up there.
Like where their Japanese passengers looking at her like, okay, yeah. Well, yeah. All right, American.
It's
got her clocked.
It's the equivalent on your way over of like on the way back. We got dinner the other night and we were talking about the trip, and then the drink that I ordered had matcha in it, and people looked at me like, okay. All right, pal.
This guy's getting his trip started a little early.
Jesus.
Matcha when in Rome, I guess.
Yeah.
What are you doing, this lunatic? I mean, it would be like watching Rocky or Rocky
Rocky's
2.
Also up there.
Watching Rocky 5 over there when he's beating up the Russian. You're just like sitting in your seat on the airplane crying as he gives the speech. I can change. I can change. Just bawling as your plane's landing in Japan.
Honestly, Sly might kind of have the canon. Rambo's got to be up there too. Rambo's a pretty fucking American movie.
Yeah, the first ones are, I think. But then, like the remakes, he's like, ingrained in the culture again. He's like in Vietnam, living his best life, becoming one with the people. Whereas I think in the first one, it was all like, being violent and stuff against them. I don't know. I can't defend Rambo's politics on this pod. I'm afraid. I feel like this would be a real dilemma for Rambo.
Yeah,
if
man.
you could ask, depending on what movie you're asking him, your teenage daughter is dating a young man of another race. Do you try to break him up? That could be a compelling question for Rambo. John Rambo, especially in the first one. Okay, another example that's dated, but like, better way. You phone a friend at 1 a.m., but dial another friend by mistake. When his sleepy voice answers, do you identify yourself?
Oh. Huh.
But it's but just like today could be called, you have a cell phone, somebody calls you and you're like, Kevin, you called me.
Yeah, you're going to see that. So I guess, so
you got to own it. So what if you think you're calling, what if I think I'm calling you and I end up calling somebody else is kind of the dilemma. Or you think you're calling me and somebody else picks up the phone and you're like, oh shit, I didn't mean to call so-and-so.
What I like is that this question presupposes that getting a call at 1 a.m. is like the worst thing that can happen to someone. Like it feels like a real imposition. I guess that person got up out of bed. They took off their Ebenezer Scrooge style nightcap and lit a little candle.
They walked into the living room.
Yeah. Maybe tripped over their nightgown. Fell ass out on the middle of the hall. Had to deal with that. The phone is still ringing.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I probably would identify myself before I even thought about the possibility that I could not have.
Would you be capable of telling someone, if you accidentally called me, would you be capable of telling me, sorry, man, I didn't actually mean to call you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would. With confidence, you think?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think you're lying. Do it to me right now.
What do you think?
Do it to me right now. Sorry, Tim. I didn't mean to pod with you today.
Honestly, dude, I had time booked with Spencer. This was this is kind of awkward for me. Yeah. I had to find another opinion. Yeah, what about you? What do you think you would do? Would this be a problem for you at all?
No. I'm just like, hey man, sorry, I meant to call somebody else.
Who do you think this would be a problem for? What personality traits do you think a person that this would be a problem for would have?
I don't know. I mean, somebody who's really worried about inconvenience. It would be, well, it's you phone a friend, but dial another friend by mistake. What it would be great is if you accidentally call an ex or something like that,
yeah.
Or someone you haven't talked to in 6 years, somebody. Oh, so Laura, my girlfriend, when we first started dating, I think she knows another, like a Tim, maybe it was another Tim Keck or like another Tim something. There's another Tim that she knows, and she accidentally called him by mistake and hadn't spoken to him in like 5 years or something like that.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. I guess it was nice. She's like, he's a cool dude. We said hi, and then I guess haven't talked since. I don't know. Maybe I should find out what happened.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if she wants me airing her dirty laundry that she accidentally called another Tim.
Wow, dude. Honestly, that's a moral dilemma that you even shared it on a pod. Would I have shared it on a pod? I don't know.
It's too deep. We'll have to talk about it after. I'll have to give her a warning before we air this thing.
Yeah.
I do want to say I love the trope of like when Harry Met Sally, when they're lying in bed and they each have their own phone on their own nightstand with their own phone number. I would love to know if that ever actually happened, or if that's just something that we think happens because of movies, because it's fun to have somebody call you in the middle of the night, but you're sleeping in the same bed and your partner has a different phone number. That seems wild. That seems wild, because then you've got a house phone. And so what? Does the one in the living room have a different number?
Oh, weird. I mean, you could have it wired to multiple switches in the same house, but I feel like that's such a luxury. That had to be like just a fantastical idea in 1991 or whenever that movie came out. Like, I mean, I feel like people were not here. I turned in a phone trade-in to Verizon this afternoon, and they were trying to get me to open up 6 more lines. Like, they were trying to give these things away. Back then, we were not throwing lines around willy-nilly. You got one phone number and you clung to it like a life raft.
They threw the phones around.
Yeah.
They were like, take a phone. Who cares? There's got a bin of them on the way out the door. Grab one and then buy a line. And now they're doing the exact opposite. Like, take these lines, take 20 more lines, just buy the $1,000 phone that you need, or, the the world will end. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do think it's funny too when they have, because I was talking to somebody about, I was texting with somebody the other day talking about how great those like old like TVs were that had the VHS like in it. You know what I'm talking about? Those old big boxy TVs.
Oh yeah, baby.
And that reminded me of Batman 1989. You know, the Joker, and they go into the Batcave and they're like, what's the most futuristic computer we can give to Batman? And it's like a bunch of those all taped together with PVC.
Yeah.
And I think that's so funny because even in like the most advanced technology, they're like, Batman's got like, this is a supercomputer. They didn't make any of the screens thin.
No.
So there isn't a single flat screen. They're just boxes. Like the thought of making it thinner never even crossed their minds. At no point were they like, this is the next step for TVs.
Henry Ford once said, if I'd asked people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Like, what do you think that thing? I always think about what's that thing today? Like, what's the thing that we are all just looking at exactly the wrong way? Right? Like we all like the future, we want a flying car or something like that. But maybe it's a donut or something we ride on, or maybe we just bounce. Maybe we hover. Maybe we don't even need to hover. Maybe we just phase through things like Ghost and Thunderbolts.
Wow.
I don't know.
That's wild. That is kind of funny. I feel like the answer is almost always like, for how do we solve this problem? The answer is almost always you don't. Like you have to completely go and approach this from a completely different route. Like how do we make a flat screen TV? The cathode ray thing takes up too much space. And it's like, you don't make a flat screen TV with a cathode ray tube. You have to invent a completely different way to do this. And I feel like I'm right there. I can't imagine any progress on anything because I don't know how to do anything differently. You need somebody who's willing to think different, Tim. And unfortunately, Steve Jobs died and Johnny Cash died and Bob Hope died. And now we have no jobs, no cash, and no hope.
Damn it, dude. How long have you been sitting on that one?
I found that again. Somehow I got in like just a deep cut of like internet memes from 2008. And like whenever it was right after Steve Jobs died, and like 16 people made that joke at the same time on like different like late night shows and shit. Oh boy.
No jobs, no hope, no cash.
Mm-hmm.
RIP to some legends, the last free thinkers that existed.
That was it.
Okay. Here's another flashback one. You discover that your spouse is bisexual. Do you ask for a divorce?
Tim, I legitimately thought the last word in that was going to be three-way.
Right? See, that's why these questions, even the way these questions are worded is fascinating. You discover that your spouse is bisexual. Do you ask for a divorce? You ask for a divorce before a threesome? That's insane. That's insane. If this is such a deal breaker for you anyway, if for whatever reason, there's probably other stuff going on, but if this is enough of a red flag that you're going to divorce them anyway, like at least get a threesome out of it, I guess. Why wouldn't you want to do that?
Yeah, I knew something was wrong. This person liked the movie Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
I figured that was the cornerstone of our relationship.
Also, it says you discover that your spouse is bisexual. How are you going to discover that? Do you walk in on them with someone else and you're like, whoa, okay.
I mean,
they're the same sex you are.
That does happen. I mean, you know, you can walk in on someone looking at porn and like you can infer based on what someone's doing and what they're looking at while they're doing it, what their interests might be. So like that does happen.
It just seemed for whatever way I read this, it feels like a deception. You discover that your spouse is bisexual. You discover that your spouse is cheating.
Bingo.
They're wording it like this is a deep, dark secret they are keeping from you.
Yeah, that's
I feel
so
like,
interesting.
which just kind of proves like how dated this thing is.
The homophobic subtext is strong in this question.
Right. Like this is a homophobic question, but you discover that your spouse is bisexual. I think, I don't really think that today, I don't think that changes it. Also, they would probably tell you if they're like going through some, hopefully they talk to you and you have an open dialogue about it. And then I don't know. There was I saw a great like video the other day from that Caleb Heron guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he was interviewing this woman. She was talking about her bisexuality and how she went to her like male partner. And she was like, what would you think if I kind of explored my bisexuality with women during our marriage? And he goes, oh, you mean cheat?
Holy shit.
and then she's like, this is the part that blew my mind. And he was like, the fact that you don't understand that that's cheating, it makes you homophobic. And she was like, whoa, galaxy brain. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I guess you can be whatever you want, but if you're with somebody, you're with them, right?
That's the conversation. Yeah.
That's the conversation.
It's, you know, God, the phrasing of it is so bad. I'm answering the question that we're asking, not the question that one's answering, or that one's asking, just because, yeah, it's like you talk. The answer is you talk, and you figure out the extent to which that's going to impact what works in the relationship for both of you, and then you go from there.
Right. Like, I don't know. Like if I came to you and I was like, listen, I'm thinking about trains. I'm going to get real into trains. And you're like, are we still going to pod, you know, every week? It's like, yeah, no, we're still going to pod. I'm just going to be training a lot. Like, okay.
I might wear a conductor hat while we do it.
I might wear a conductor hat. You know, that might like, okay, I think I can work with that. I'm not really sure what else. Otherwise, this is just nice information to have, you know, like nothing's changing too much.
You know, maybe I'll toss a couple choo-choos in there. See if that does anything for you.
Here's another fun one that I think, again, the wording on some of these is so funny to me. You're pregnant and you're not sure the child is your husband's. Are you honest with him?
Wow.
And the way that's worded, they're like, are you going to be honest with him that the child's not his? It's like, you haven't been honest with him so far, so why start now?
Are you going to start being honest with him?
Yeah. For the first time in your life, are you going to be honest to your husband and the people around you? Like, you don't just get pregnant magically and then you're like, I don't know. The stork that brought this said this might have been somebody else's.
Yeah.
You're pregnant and you're not sure the child is your husband's. Or there's a scenario where it's like in
immaculate conception.
Immaculate conception, yeah. But when the doctor does it, you know, when but you're like, you thought it was your husband's sperm, but it's actually somebody else's sperm, and then it's all a hilarious misunderstanding, but it's real because it's
inaccurate conception.
It's an inaccurate conception. The immaculate conception versus the inaccurate conception.
Oh boy.
I feel like that's probably what it actually was, right? The immaculate conception was really just like, it's not yours, but
yeah.
That really is this scenario. You're the Virgin Mary. You're pregnant and you're not sure the child is your husband's. Are you going to be honest with him, or are you going to make up a story that God got you pregnant?
Oh my God. That is kind of a wild.
Yeah, we're going there today.
We're going there. That is, I mean, look, this is up there with what's the deal with airline food in terms of things that I'm sure have been well trod in like comedies and sketch in the past. But it is kind of wild to think about if Mary was covering up a situation like this and decided to lean into it so hard that a religion was formed, and that her son believed that he was the son of God. That's pretty wild. That's like Larry David levels of being in over your head with a lie.
It is. Like, at what point?
Hypothetically, I'm not offending anybody. We're talking in hypotheticals.
Yeah.
Don't stick the Chicago Pope on me.
Yeah. Chicago Pope. Yeah, he's like an American guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, dude. He watches Rocky. He watches.
Yeah, dude. He's watches Remember the Titans. How recently to becoming the Pope do you think he watched Remember the Titans? Like a week,
every morning,
dude. A year, every morning.
He wakes up every single morning and uses that as his guiding tenet.
It's been less than a year since he watched Remember the Titans for this Pope. I don't know if you could say that about other popes.
Francis was a big fan.
Yeah, Francis loved Remember the Titans.
Ain't no mountain high.
Ain't no mountain high, but he says that in Latin. And
ain't no mountain high. Sorry, we can move on.
I don't know. It feels, having an American Pope feels like, I don't know, like being a Mormon to me, where it's like, don't you think this is a little too soon? Like, it's too recent. Mm-hmm. You know, like, it's not magical if it's an American.
Yeah.
We're like 400 years old, you know?
My first thought was there's not a rule against that. And my second thought was there should be a rule against that. Like,
Yeah,
there was
we
no
shouldn't
part
be
of me that was
allowed.
like, let's go USA. It was entirely like, oh, no, you don't want that. You don't want an American Pope.
My first thought was like, oh, so this is a joke. So this
we're
whole
just
thing
not
is
going to
bullshit
try anymore.
So we're phoning it
I'm
in.
sorry. We're just not going to do Catholicism anymore. All right.
Okay, what's next? You're just gonna treat everybody the same? That's crazy. Man. This okay. Here's one. By chance, you see a confidential memo about staff cutbacks. Your boss
Wait,
has written
I'm
the
so
names
sorry.
of
I'm so
It's all-
sorry. I heard it recently and I want to get your take on it. I was listening to the rewatchables about Escape from New York. And
Yeah.
they were talking about how they made the president in that movie British for the same reason we were just talking about. Like, basically, it was a sign that we're just not fucking trying anymore. There's a British president. Like, he fully has a British accent.
Yeah. Have you seen Highlander?
No.
I've never seen Highlander, but there was a joke on, I think, Rick and Morty about it, where they're like, yeah, Sean Connery plays the Spaniard and does nothing about his accent. And it's just like, okay.
All right.
I just think that's such a funny detail where it's just like, yeah, I mean, there's a British US president's crazy. It's like an English prime minister. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Can that happen?
Yeah.
I don't know.
All
What's
right.
the Pope supposed to be? Italian?
Yeah, probably. I mean, Pope, just anything but American. Just American Pope does not work for me. This was a bad tangent. I take it back. Let's go back to the Scruple.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah. So by chance you see a confidential memo about staff cutbacks. Your boss has written the names of 3 coworkers on it. Do you warn them?
I tell them as long as I know the person and know they're not going to do anything fucking psychotic. Like, if they're the kind of person that would throw like a massive fit or like, what do you call it? Like a disproportionate response? No, I'm not going to tell them. But if they're a rational person, like, they deserve to get a little bit of a heads up. The deck is so stacked against the average worker in this country that everybody, all of us need every single leg up we can possibly get.
I agree, and I'm pro worker, but I'm not pro like all workers. Like there's I don't know. I feel like you always end up working with somebody where you're like, oh, I'm going to tell them, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to tell this person. Like, is there a possibility? I think, like you said, where like, could they weaponize this against me somehow? Could they blow this up? Could they blow up my game? It's like Survivor.
Yeah.
You know, like you hear someone's name and you go and you tell them it's you heard the name, but is that going to blow up your game when they go to somebody else and they say, hey, I heard the name from this person? It feels like that's all Survivor is.
No, for sure. I mean, I'd categorize that under disproportionate response. And to that note too, I feel like this is a situation where the person does depend. When I heard this, I was picturing that it was a good friend that works there, like someone on your actual team, someone that you have a good relationship with. That's a person I would tell about this. But yeah, if it's like a person where I'm not even on their team, I don't really have a relationship with them, I'm not going to go out of my way, be like, hey, what's up, Frank? We've never spoken. You're getting fired. Not by me, but it's happening. Like, no way. That would not happen. But if it's one of like your best work friends, you know, they got kids, you got to let them know.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Again, a disproportionate response I would include if that person is going to do anything insane to company property. Like if they're the kind of person that would like download a bunch of people from the database or anything nuts, like, no, that is not a person you tell about this. It's just a person that you're 100% positive is going to be chill.
This is a dumb one. You own a restaurant and serve rolls with every meal. Often they are returned to the kitchen seemingly untouched. Do you serve them again?
Oh, wow. Okay. Follow-up question for this one for you. I'm going to turn this on you because I've been answering all these first. So this is going to be you first, but I got an add-on.
Yeah.
A, would you serve them to a table in the restaurant again without the people at the table knowing, obviously? B, would you list them on something like Too Good to Go?
What do you mean? Oh, like that app.
The
Oh, there's
app
like an app
for like
that like
leftover
kind of,
food.
yeah, you can get a discount on leftover food in your area, and you don't know
Yeah.
what it is. It's just you're gonna go to the place and get leftovers, but it's at a massive discount.
And the assumption is that it's still not food that came back from anyone's plate. The assumption is still that it's just like a roll of bread that didn't get turned into a sandwich at Jimmy John's, which, by the way,
Right.
man, I used to do that fresh bread thing all the time, or that like end of the night bread thing at Jimmy John's. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, end of the night bread. That's where it's at. That's where it's at.
Shit.
My dad went to or growing up, or like in Florida, there's Publix's grocery stores, and they're pretty nice. It's like a good grocery store in Florida, and they go through food and they get rid of all their old produce, and so they'll donate it to people. And so my dad, I actually got some for like a student project where we like smash fruit for like a fundraiser, and they just like gave me all this fruit, and we did it, and it was great. And then my dad, through the church, started showing up early in the morning at Publix to get the leftover food from the night before, and then he would pick it up from that Publix, from another Publix, and bring it to like a homeless shelter where they would get food. And it was like some nice volunteer work he was doing. But his biggest competition was a guy that I think owned a llama. And this guy would try to get to the Publix before my dad, because if he beat him there, then he would pick up the food and feed it to his llama.
Dude, fuck that llama. Fuck that llama, dude. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he had a llama or llamas or like some farm animal. He had animals that wanted all of this leftover food. And so my dad had to get up even earlier than him. And I just remember my dad always got up early, like, 5:30 or something like that growing up. But then he would get up even earlier on those days where he had to go to Publix just to beat the llama guy.
What a bizarre literal manifestation of the early bird metaphor.
Yeah.
Dude, fuck that llama guy. This guy, you're literally feeding animals before you're feeding human beings that need it. And it's not like you're feeding the animals to fatten them up so that the people can then eat the animals. We're just feeding these fucking llamas. Jesus.
It'd be one thing if he was bringing that llama by the homeless shelter and giving people rides or something.
Yeah.
But he's not like giving back to the community like that.
Oh my God.
It's just funny that those are the two options, and it's still like they're squaring off.
Yeah.
And also my dad just started going so early, and then he like kept going early. And I was like, so how do you play that? Do you just have to keep going early forever? Is this llama guy going to give up? How much longer is this llama guy going to keep trying this Publix? Do you try and go a little later and see if the llama guy's given up before you? Do you get in touch with him? Do you stay in touch with this guy? Do you put like an Apple tag in his car or something and just see if he's at the Publix? Like, how far do we go to beat this guy? Do you just talk to him? I felt like I also like to think that my dad never talked to him like, this is what I'm doing with it. It was just like an unspoken rivalry.
Yeah.
That was treated as equally intense by both men who just silently, stood their ground. Because I find it hard to believe. I feel like you would be a crazy person to be like, listen, I'm trying to get this food for my llama. And someone's like, I'm taking all this food to a homeless shelter. And you're like, okay, let's flip a coin.
Yeah.
We'll see whoever gets here the earliest. Let's make a deal. Whoever gets here earliest gets it.
There's so many levels of this. I feel like if you work at the Publix, you're the general manager, you got to be like, I'm not giving it to you. You're going to give it to a fucking llama. I'm giving it to Tim's dad. Like, I know you're here first. I don't care. I don't care about your llama. Like, take your llama. Get the fuck out of here. People need this food. That's wild. The point, that guy is not a rational person to argue with, too, because he has a llama and he's showing up to feed food to the llama.
This is not a sane human being we're dealing with.
No, we're a couple levels past that. I'm assuming when this was going on, your dad wasn't living in Machu Picchu.
Funny enough, he was.
Oh,
he was on working remote in Machu Picchu. Yeah, definitely.
Complete change.
Yeah. Yeah. The Publix chain down there is the bomb. It's
phenomenal.
Pan
yeah. You don't find pan pipes like that many other places.
Yeah. Llama guy. And I feel like, if you want, he didn't even ride up on the llama. So like, what's this llama doing? This llama's just lounging around. Like, can you imagine owning a llama and then taking your car to go steal free food for your llama from homeless people?
I'm picturing it's in the bed of his truck, or at least he's got like an El Camino, and the llama's like curled up in the back, and it's like chewing its cud, like it's doing
He's
that
driving
thing where it's
around
got
with
the
it.
jaw moving, and he goes and he gets the like sack of food, and he just whips it into the back, and the llama just goes to town, and your dad just has to watch and know that there's people who need food who are going hungry, but this llama is just getting fatter and fatter by the day.
I also feel like there's no way this guy is dressed like a normal person either.
No. What do you think?
He's got like safari gear, like a knockoff crocodile hunter, right? Like probably a safari vest of some kind.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely rocking a vest with a ton of pockets.
For sure.
Right? Like so many pockets.
Oh my God. Well, because like there's pockets all
Cargo
over
pants.
it. And then he's got treats for the llama stashed in a couple different pockets, which is why anytime he's up near it, it does that thing that animals to do with animal trainers sometimes, where they're just like really like searching the animal trainer for treats. They know the trainer has treats.
Yeah.
And they're just going for that and like nipping at every single pocket they got.
Yeah. And he's doing weird sexual stuff with that llama.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
Definitely. One man, does this guy have a family? I don't even know. Flushing out this scenario with our imaginations, I'm picturing just one man alone owns one llama.
Yeah.
That is not a healthy relationship.
No, not
I can say
slightest.
that. I can say that.
They live together in a studio apartment. And
in
he
Brooklyn.
jokingly...
He has to get him up 3 flights of stairs every day.
Yes. Well, getting him up's not the problem. It's getting him down.
Llamas hate going downstairs.
Hate going downstairs.
I think
The
that's a
elevator's
thing with
always
like
broken.
pigs or cows or something.
I think it's ungulates in general, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Anything that has ungulates, it's like
undulants.
He's that
Heavy
guy with the llamas
swinging
playing with his
undulants?
It's it's the class of animal that like deer and horses, like cows are like bovine, but then any hooved animal rolls up into ungulates.
Okay. Well,
Like a
let's move
gazelle.
on before
I
you
think
keep
I don't know if we have the research on this, but I think if you brought a gazelle to the staircase, it wouldn't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
It's, you know what? We talked about that with innovation. That's what we're all like. We're all like gazelles in front of a staircase.
Yeah. Who's going to reinvent the staircase so undulates can use them? We want undulant access equal up and down. That's my
God damn
campaign,
it, dude.
to you.
A horse on every floor. That's the Tim Keck campaign promise. The second American Pope. Pope Undulate the first.
Oh, man. Okay. I think our pod's over, but maybe I'll leave one for the audience. One for the audience. And we'll do it next time we do a thing. You give your lover an expensive gift, then break up a month later. Do you ask for it back? Let us know. Send us an email. See what goes on. How are you about gift giving? Getting back? What do you think? You get somebody a friend gift, you're not friends anymore. Do you ask for it back? You marry somebody, you propose, you get a ring. Do you ask for the ring back? I don't know. I feel like this is a good question.
Why'd you propose in the first place if you knew you were just going to break up soon? Let us know. Send us an email, nerdy430@gmail.com. You already said that part. We will find out next time we do Scruples. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We'll be back here next week with Andor. We'll see you then. Till then, stay nerdy, everybody.
Stay nerdy.
Bye.
Bye.